I found this in the grass by our garden beds the other day, and in my entire adult life, it's safe to say I've never found a random domino, let alone a two four-sided domino like this in the grass without knowing where it came from. And when an event like this happens, I think it's very natural to question, what does it mean? And how do you assign meaning to an event like that? Is it random chance? Did somebody just drop it out their pocket? Do you go on Google to find the answer? Google, what does a two-sided number 4 domino mean if I find it by the garden bed? Do you call your parents? Mom, what does it mean if I found a two-sided domino by the garden bed? Do you ask your priest? Do you ask your community, friends, siblings? Reddit? TikTok? How do you assign meaning to this? And when this happened, it reminded me of a core concept that, if adopted, has the ability to allow a man to live very free in this world. And that concept is pasting your own meaning onto any event, any circumstance, any situation that occurs in your reality. And this was just an example of it, because I have the sovereign thought and the ability to just dictate what this means to me. Nobody can come and tell me definitively what it means to find a double four-sided domino by the garden bed. They just can't. And this is obviously a niche example. If anybody has ever found one of these, I would be interested to hear that and hear how you interpreted that event. But this concept applies to every aspect of our life. We get the ability, well, we can adopt the ability to paste our own meanings onto anything. And if you really understand this, it can set you free in so many ways, because you stop getting held back by faulty meanings to events in your life. And if you think about all the years you've lived up until this point, the meaning you've created in this reality is almost certainly largely not of your own creation. Meaning, you were told the meaning of everything by the good boy factories, schools, parents, the media, society, the collective consciousness. For example, you lose money, the meaning we all give that is, oh, it's bad, how terrible. You lose a job, oh, poor you, bad, that means it's bad. You lose a relationship, oh, that means it's bad, it's a negative thing, you should be upset. We all adopt so many meanings to so many events, but really, who gets to decide that? Who is the definitive authority? Well, I'm here to tell you that today, you can decide that that is you in your reality. You can become the sovereign thought leader and the meaning assigner to anything that happens. Because who's going to stop you? Who's going to come and tell you not to do that? There may be some entities in the world that try to stop you doing that. Some authorities that have all the answers. But really, it's you. And this concept got cemented for me. I'd been ideating on it and experiencing it, and I heard it from a few people. And then we just moved back on grid from living off the grid. And the wife and I had a kind of argument one morning. And I went outside, and there was a dead cardinal, red cardinal here in the Midwest, a beautiful bird. I'd never seen that. Just there in the middle of the road. The dog was trying to eat it. And I picked it up and was like, oh, how symbolic. What does this mean? And I walked the dog, and then I got in and I was Googling it, checking all the forums. Some people are like, oh, it means that your romance is dead. Some people are like, oh, your relationship is over. Other people said it's a sign to rekindle the love. And I was like, oh, what does it mean? Oh, no. What am I going to do? Is my romance over? Is our relationship dead? And it was on my mind. And then I went to work with the person that I was living with. And she's from the north of England. And I told her, I relayed the story. I was like, oh, I found a red cardinal today. And I think it might mean that the romance is dead. And she just went, oh, the stupid birds always crashing into the windows. Dumb birds. And I was like, oh, that was the meaning she assigned to that event, that the birds are just stupid and they just crash into the barn. And in that moment, the concept downloaded and I digested it fully to realize that we assign meaning to anything. If you get this and you understand it and understand it more importantly, you can start to paste positive, empowering meanings onto anything in your life. And when I look back through the years before the concept being cemented in, I'd already been doing this and I'd already had this as a natural or maybe a trained way of thinking. But I'd already started to do it. So for example, I once ended a long-term relationship and obviously everyone's like, oh, it's so bad. But the meaning I gave to that was it was positive. We were both going to go our separate ways and do life separately, and that was for the better. And I pasted the meaning that it was going to open the door for the right person to come in, because even though I loved my previous partner, we weren't compatible in so many ways. Equally, when I got sick and I had cancer, obviously everyone's like, oh, that's so bad. Oh, sorry to hear that. And it probably is bad, relative event. But I gave it the meaning that it was going to be a catalyst for changing my life. And it was going to be an event. Like, I'm the kind of guy, and I did this in a previous video, that I sometimes need direct. I need to be hit between the eyes sometimes to change and pivot. And cancer for me became that event, pivoted, completely changed everything. And I look back on it now with difficult memories, of course, but fond memories. A fond meaning that that was a turning point, and it set me off on this new path that I'm still on, where I'm figuring out more and more who I am every day, living life more and more on my own terms every day. That's the meaning I assign to that. So if you play with this concept, look at your whole life now, look at any scenario. You're out of shape, give that a positive meaning. It's giving you the contrast to when you're in shape, to know what you don't want to go back to. If you've got financial issues, well, it's teaching you the value of money. It's teaching you what you don't want. You've got too much money, but you don't feel good. It's like, oh, the meaning is that you had to make all the money to realize money wasn't the answer. And over time, if you can continue to do this and become the meaning creator and the authority, the sovereign authority in your reality, the reality will shape to suit you and serve you rather than keep you boxed in. Because if you have faulty meanings, you are going to be boxed in. You know, that's just the way it is. But at least that's the meaning I give to it. Do you see? So you have to stay sovereign here, and you have to keep thinking for yourself and thinking freely and critically. But I encourage you to experiment with this. Try it in your reality. Pick a small event. Flip the meaning. Paste your own meaning onto it. And see how you interact with that differently. See how the world interacts with you differently. And you do this over time, I think you're going to be really pleasantly surprised with how different everything feels. Because you will no longer be trapped, boxed in by somebody else's meaning of events in your life. Give it the positive one and see what happens. And when it does work for you, report back to this channel and let all the other sirs know that pasting your own meaning onto any event, situation, circumstance to empower you means you live an empowered life. It's wonderful. I want to share that with you today. And if you are interested in what the meaning I assign to this, I actually can't remember. It was something to do with balancing two sides of the coin in the business and personal life at the time. But now I just think it's dope. And I just really like the domino. And 8 is like an abundant number. I don't really know. The meaning I gave to this is it was a talking point to make the meaning for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. Stay free and live as the king you are meant to be. I've been Joshua. This has been Unboxable Kings. Have a wonderful rest of your time of the day, wherever it is. And I'll see you in the next video. Much love. Peace. What do you think of that?